All right, today, lesson on budget. First thing that I want to address with you concerning a budget, okay? When a lot of people hear the word budget, or when you talk about budget, it oftentimes has a negative connotation with it. You know, people are, budget, you know. And so, you know, budget's kind of a dirty word in a lot of people's vocabulary, and they don't like the idea of a budget, okay? Here's what I want you to know about how I feel about a budget, okay? A budget, and this is the definition I want you guys to write in your notes, so let's get this down, okay? And Blana's on, so if you want to type in for us the definition, that would be great. But, okay, a budget is a plan of how you're going to spend your money. Okay? A budget is a plan of how you are going to spend your money. All right? Okay, so who gets to develop that plan? You do. You get to develop your own plan of how you want to spend your money. All right? And if you create a budget that you don't like, change it. Okay, it's your budget. You get to decide how you spend your money, all right? But one of the things that will happen, you know, and if you're a spender, you know this, right? Is you'll get a paycheck in, and then you don't have necessarily a plan for how you're going to spend it, and it just goes, you know, and you get to the end of the month, or you get to the end of the week, or 2 weeks, or however often you get paid, and you're like, where did it all go, right? And it just went wherever, because you had no plan of how to spend that money, okay? So creating a budget is really just is creating a plan of when the money comes in, where is it gonna go? How do I want to spend it, okay? And it ensures that you spend your money on the things that you want to spend your money on, okay? And that's a good thing, right? And so, however you want to spend your money, that's great. You spend your money the way that you want to spend your money, okay? But just make sure that you've got a plan of how you want to spend it, so that when it comes in, you know where it's going to go, okay? So let's address a couple of things, okay, in a budget. Generally, in a budget, you're going to have what they call fixed expenses, okay, and variable expenses. Okay, a fixed expense is an expense that is going to be the same amount every month. Okay, a fixed expense is going to be an expense that is the same amount every month. All right. Pause for a sec, make sure you get that down in your notes. One more time, a fixed expense is an expense that is the same every month, okay? So if you went and bought a car and you have a car payment, that car payment generally is the same every month until you get that car paid off, all right? So if the payment on it is $150 a month, you know, every single month I have to budget $150 to make that car payment, okay? So that is a fixed expense, generally like your home mortgage, okay? When you buy a home, your home mortgage is going to be a fixed expense. If you're renting a home, it's the same amount every month. It's going to be a fixed expense, okay? And then there's variable expenses, okay? A variable expense is our expenses that the amount changes from month to month, okay? So an expense where the amount changes from month to month, all right? A variable expense is an expense where the amount changes from month to month, okay? Now, this can be things like, well, with your utilities, at certain times during the season, you spend more money on your gas to heat the home, whereas in the summertime, you don't spend as much on gas to heat the home because you're spending more on electricity to cool the home with your air conditioner. So at various times, depending on how much you use the electricity to cool the home with the air conditioner, how much you spend on gas to heat the home during the winter time, those are variable expenses. From month to month, your heating bill will change. From month to month, your electricity bill may change, okay? Your food or your grocery bill, okay? Sometimes there's bulk items that you gotta buy every once in a while, but not every time you go shopping. So, month to month, you may find that, hey, one month I spent this month much, the next month I spent this, the next month I spent this, and it's not always exactly the same, and so that's a variable expense, okay? So, when you put together a budget, you have to consider that, hey, there's fixed expenses, there's variable expenses, and so I've got to give myself a little bit of wiggle room to make sure there that if one of those variable expenses ends up being more than what I expected it to be, I'm not going to have a budget so tight that I can't make that happen, okay? What we have done so far in this class, and one of the things that the Google Sheet that we've put together, we've called that Google Sheet a budget, okay? And the first page that I had you put on those Google Sheets was a budget, okay? And guess what we're going to be doing this week? Well, we're going to be looking at, okay, let's start spending that money. Well, we had you go buy a car, we had you go buy a house, we had you shop for insurance, we had you pay taxes. There's a number of things that we've done on those Google Sheets. So now, you went and found a job and you're getting paid, on Google Sheets. You have a job, you did the career cluster inventory, and there was supposed to be a career that you chose, okay? So now we take that career and we say, okay, what's the first expense you've got to pay? What is and generally speaking, this is going to be fixed, okay? Because every paycheck, generally speaking, the same amount will come out if you've done it consistently. But taxes, right? That's an expense. All right, you got paid this much. This is how much they're taking out of your paycheck. Okay, 6.2% for Social Security. You can count on 6.2% every paycheck to come out for Social Security. 1.45% for Medicare. You can expect that every month 1.45% of your paycheck is going to go to Medicare, depending on what state you live in. If you live in Utah, your state income tax is 5%. It's going to be a flat 5%. So every month, 5% of whatever it is that you make is going to go to state income taxes. Now, federal is a little more complicated. We kind of saw that. It's a progressive tax rate, so depending on how much money you make will determine how much you pay in federal income taxes. But if you've got a consistent paycheck that's the same month to month, then you should know about how much is going to come out in federal income taxes. Okay, when you budget, you then say, all right, what are my priorities? Okay, you've got to set priorities. You got to say, this is my plan. Okay, and if your budget, and this is something I think I'm going to have you put in your notes. Okay, your budget should reflect your values. Okay, so write that down. Your budget should reflect your values. If there's something that you value, okay, then you should allocate money towards that which you value, okay? There are people who value religion and they, feel it's important for them or necessary for them or something that they want to do. They want to take 10% of their income and they want to donate it to their church, right? Call it tithing. So if that's something that you value, you've got to make sure that you plan for it, budget for it, and if it's a high priority for you, then put it in your budget and make it a priority, okay? If you own a home, you've got to budget that house payment, okay? If you have a car and you have a car payment, you've got to budget that in, but you start going down and you say, all right, what's important to me, okay? And when you get to the end, if you get to the end, and this is where that, from the very beginning of the semester, okay, the thing that I've tried to really instill in you, and it's the thing that, and I take this will be on the quiz too, okay, I'm definitely going to put this in the quiz, is, hey, Mr. Kelly has tried to teach you, pay yourself first means what? Make saving money a high priority, right? So if financial security and financial freedom, if that's important to you, if it's important to you to be financially secure, well, you got to have an emergency fund, okay? You got to have money that you're investing so that you can build wealth, right? You got to have money that you're putting away for retirement. And that's how you're going to build wealth, right? And so, not just build wealth, but create financial security, okay? So, this is where that definition really needs to be understood, okay? When I'm saying to you the definition of pay yourself first is make saving money a high priority, what I'm saying, okay, so now I sit down to create a budget, okay? And what a lot of people will do, and I don't want to have my back turned to your camera too much here, okay? What a lot of people will do is they will say, okay, all right, here's my budget, here's my plan of how I'm going to spend my money. I earn $5,000, okay, and that's my income, all right? And taxes come out of that, so let's say that we take $1,000 out in taxes. All right, that's there. All right, well now the house payment, let's say that we have a house payment, and that's $800 that's coming out there. Okay, so I got to take care of that. Let's say that I got some cars and I've got insurance on the cars and some other things. We'll say we spend about $400 a month on that. On the cars, and speaking of, remember I talked about a variable expense, right? Gas can be a very variable expense because gas prices can go up, they can go down. You can drive more one month, drive less another month, okay? But we're going to throw that in there as well, right? If we go over to our friend Rich and Abel over here, right, I've done this already, and I say, okay, insurance, kids, utilities, food, etc. And Abel, what Abel does is he gets down to the very end and he spends it all. He's got zero left to save, okay? Because by the time he gets down here, it's gone, and there's nothing left to save, okay? And the biggest difference we've always said between Rich and Abel is what? Biggest difference between Rich and Abel is that Rich saves money. And this is where making it a priority, when you put together a budget, you say, okay, you know what, hey, you know what, it's really important for me. I'm going to take $500 and I'm going to give it to my church because I think that's important. That's great. That's a personal choice. Okay, if you want to do that, go for it. But if that's a high priority, you put it there at the top, and that's one of the things that I'm going to do with my money. Well, if saving money is a high priority, you say, all right, you know what, I'm going to take $500 every month and I'm going to save it. I'm going to put it away. Okay? How you allocate that savings. And remember, we've talked about different reasons why you save. Okay? Emergencies, major purchases, retirement, and building wealth. Okay, were the 4 reasons that we talked about. So when you're putting together a budget, you have to prioritize what is it that you value. I've tried and tried and tried to convince you that saving money should be a high priority. That should be something that you put high on the list as you're creating that budget. Okay, how much you save, That's up to you. What you're saving for, you've got to determine that, okay? Because now we've said, all right, we're going to save some, but I don't know if I've told you about my 17-year-old. I know I have, right? But one of the things that he does is he saves fairly well, okay? And he'll save, but then he'll go buy something big, like a really nice mountain bike. He just bought himself a motorbike, motorcycle, okay? That's not a street bike. It's go to the sand dunes and ride the sand dunes and stuff like that. So, you know, I mean, and it's like, so he saves and buys something big. Well, that's not saving, you know. If you're saving to buy something big, well, okay, you saved for a major purchase, but that's not investing. Okay, that's not going to help you build wealth, right? You saved and you bought a big toy. Good job. So you got lots of toys now, right? So, you know, saving money to use that money to make more money is what we're talking about here, okay? So, pay yourself first means make saving money a high priority. And what that means, okay, the bottom line of what that means is when you create a budget, when you create a plan for how you want to spend your money, you've got to plan to save, okay? And then however you want to spend the rest of your money, that's great, okay? Now, I mentioned to you, those of you that were on TikTok earlier, I got invited by Dr. Brad Klontz, okay? He's a TikTok guy. Go look him up. He has a lot of good finance videos on TikTok. But he said, hey, I want to do a collab with you, and I want to make a TikTok video together with you. So I'm going to ask you a question, and then you answer that question. Well, the question that he asked was, what advice would you give to young kids about how to build wealth? Okay, and there's three things that I said. One, okay, well, the first thing I said is that you need to develop good habits. Okay, and so developing good habits when you're young will translate into good habits when you're old. Okay, it's hard to break habits. Okay. So if you develop the habit of smoking tobacco, it's hard to break that habit. You probably smoked tobacco through adulthood, and they found that the tobacco companies will prey on teenage kids, because if they can hook you when you're a teenager, they're going to have you for life. Okay? So developing good habits is important. Saving money is a habit that you develop. Okay? And so the three things that I mentioned in that video is, hey, one, learn how to work hard, develop a good work ethic, right? Two, delay gratification. Don't expect to have something right now, okay? I want it now. I want it right now, okay? Veruca on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right? Don't be Veruca, right? Have patience. Know that good things come to those who wait. Work for it. Develop goals. Work towards a goal. Good things don't happen right now. Okay? Get rich quick is a rarity. Okay? And so you have to be careful of that. Okay? And then the third thing I said on there was save and invest. Develop the habit of saving money and taking some of that money and investing it, using that money to make more money, okay? All right, so that's all I want to share with you today on budget, okay? I've given you the definition of budget. I've given you the definition of a fixed expense, a variable expense, and once again, giving you the definition of pay yourself first, okay? So I'm going to come back on the other side